As we get to the release of OP14, I'm sure a bunch of you guys are asking, myself included, is OP14 worth investing in? That's what we'll be talking about today. We'll be talking about the set value, we'll be talking about the top chasers, and we'll be talking about box price and a couple other things to evaluate, is it worth investing in? So I don't want to waste your time. I'm sure you've got tons of stuff to do today. So let's just begin. So let's start off with the box price, which is $250. Overall, really good box price. That definitely ticks the box there. It is much more affordable than other boxes, which is great. In a market where boxes are $600 when they're half a year old, yeah, I'll take it being $250. Yeah, that's a win in my book. So first of all, just starting off, great. Second thing we need to talk about is the set value. Now this set is incredibly new, so make sure, do prepare for this set to absolutely plummet in set value. It is not OP13, it is not an anniversary set. These cards are hyped up, and a lot of people are buying these cards at really high prices because they're very new to the hobby and they don't really understand that. Honestly, if it's not a manga, if it's not like a gold or silver, if it's not anything special like a signature, a lot of the time the cards are rare, but dude, these prices are pretty ridiculous. So I will say it probably will go down in price. However, it is starting off really expensive to begin with. So yeah, there's a lot of SPs that are quite expensive. I'm sure some of them will go down. So do be prepared for the set value to go down. However, the set value is 14 grand, which is actually a lot. Comparing it to a set like PRB01, PRB01 is 16k set value. And that has a reprint of some of the earliest mangas. So yeah, it's actually a lot if you compare it to that. And then if you want like a decent comparison, OP05 set value is like not even 11k. So it has a higher set value than OP05. And last time we had a set that had a higher set value than OP05, which was OP13, it absolutely blew up in price. Having a high set value is important. It's not everything, but it can usually change the tide quite quickly. So yeah, that's definitely a plus right there. Another thing I want to talk about is the top chase, which is the gold buggy. It is about $3,500. I mean, well, at least that's what Collector says. The highest sale I could find was 3 grand, but like, that's kind of a lot. I don't know how long it's going to hold this price. I don't know if it is going to hold this price. I mean, look, it is really difficult to predict. Although I will say, if it does hold that price, that's a lot. That's really expensive because that's not a PSA 10. PSA 10 in this market is probably going to be double, so that would mean that the top chase is about 7 grand as a PSA 10. Just for reference, OP05 Luffy was 7 grand as a PSA 10 only like a month and a bit ago. So if it does hold 3.5k raw, and then if it's 2x as a 10, then that means it's 7 grand, which is overall pretty good. So like overall, this set is really up there in potential. And then the next thing we need to take a look at is the top 5 cards, which make up $8,000 of value. So that is actually a really good number. Like, I'm not gonna lie, obviously it's very difficult to predict how a set will be. It's very difficult to predict the quality of a set, but if I'm being honest with you, looking at these prices, I'm actually quite impressed. I mean, if I'm being honest with you, now thinking about it, it wasn't that crazy. I was like thinking not that confident of this set originally when I saw the set list, and I took a look at it, and like the manga is good, don't get me wrong, a very popular character, like very good there, but I was thinking like, oh, I don't know, it's you know, I guess coming off my high horse of OP13, it was a bit difficult to gauge it, but now that it's actually come out, well, at least it's coming out, we can see like it's got a really good value. So the top 5 cards make up 8 grand of value, which is a really decent amount. So yeah, that also gets a green light there. And then another thing I also want to talk about is the quality of cards. So there's a couple cards that have really stood out to me, so I'm just going to quickly talk about them. So number 1 is actually the manga, very popular character. A general rule about One Piece is generally it seems to be the closer the like One Piece characters are to the start of One Piece, they do seem to, I guess, be more popular. And the reason is because a lot of people are still making it through the One Piece TV show. So if you have characters from the start, everyone knows them. No one starts the TV show 500 episodes in. People usually start it from episode 1. So if you've got characters earlier on, then it's more recognizable, right? So that's definitely a plus there. That is a bit more of a theory. I don't know if that's 100% of a fact. It's more of a theory I've come up with, but it is kind of valid, especially the fact that the live action has that character. And you know, if the live action has that character, a lot of people, when the live action came out, it was very successful and it brought in a lot of fans. So overall, it is, you know, building a bit of a foundation there, which is pretty sweet. So overall, it's looking pretty good. Before I talk about some more cards, I just want to say, if you are planning to buy any boxes, TCGPlayer or eBay, please do use my affiliate link. All you need to do is just click the link in the pinned comments or the description and then make your purchase, and I get a small kickback. It helps support the channel. It doesn't really cost you anything. If you're going to buy the box anyways, might as well go for it. It really does help support the channel. So thank you for everyone who does. And while we're here, might as well like the video if you enjoy it. Yeah, thank you for everyone who does that. But anyways, the Zoro. We need to talk about the Zoro alternate art. So the Zoro alternate art is what gives me confidence in the future of the One Piece TCG. That card is beautiful. Now, I don't play the card game. I know people who do, and I haven't talked to them yet if it's playable. I honestly have no idea, but it's really nice. It is a really good looking card. It's an absolute breath of fresh air, and it shows you the competence that Bandai have to make good looking cards that's not just mangas, a gold manga, a silver manga, or a red manga. They actually have an ability to actually make art, and that's really sustainable long term. So I really like this card. There are very few cards that's not like a manga or, you know, just, or a signature or a serialized card. There's very few of them that are actually expensive. A couple of them being the Nami from OP14. I'm pretty sure most of us can exist. That's a nice artwork from the entire set. I still think it's still aged amazing to this day. I think it just looks absolutely phenomenal. And then another card I know a lot of people love is the Luffy alternate art in EB02. Gorgeous card, absolutely phenomenal. And then we've also got this Zoro here, which I think is just gorgeous. I think it's a piece of art. Me being a Zoro fan, him being my favorite character of the One Piece franchise, I think I'm gonna have to pick up that card. It is quite expensive, so I'll figure out when I'll pick it up, but it's just such a nice looking card, very hard to pass up, so I'm definitely gonna have to pick that up in the future. So yeah, I think overall it is really building a good case for itself. So do I think it's worth buying? Yeah, honestly. And honestly, the thing that, like, it's quite new, so it might not be worth buying. Like, should you buy a new box that's cheaper? Should you buy an older box that's more expensive? Everything is overpriced. So I made a video, most controversial video I've ever made. Holy crap, people hated it. The dislike ratio was insane. But basically in the video, I was explaining that it's gone too far, okay? Things being 2x MSRP, all right, fair enough. It's crazy, but it's whatever. Things being 4x MSRP is absolutely ridiculous. Boxes like OP13 being like 500, 550, that's near 4x MSRP. Boxes like EB02, $600. Dude, the set came out last May. There's so many boxes that are so overinflated, and I'm not really having a dig at older stuff like OP05. OP05 is peak. That's like an amazing set. It did its time. It crashed. It had its quiet period. You know, that has done its time, right? And you got like older boxes, fair enough. But for the newer stuff, I was saying in my video, I was like, this is just too far. This is crazy. Bandai seriously need to do something about OP09 and recent. They need to do something about that. So that's what I was expecting in my video, and people absolutely hated it. I would assume it's just because I was saying that things are too inflated, but I'm not going to be a moon boy, okay? I made it very clear in my videos. In December, when things were going up, I was saying like, yeah, I would totally buy all of this. And you know what? I did sound like a moon boy because I was very confident. However, you can kind of see I'm not a moon boy because now I've gone, oh, okay, you know what? Things have gone up a lot, but this is actually a lot more than I thought it would. You know, OP09 going from like $240 to $650 when the set is a little over a year old is insane. It's not an extra booster where it doesn't receive reprints. It is still in print. They could reprint it. They could do fat reprints like they did with OP05 and crash it from 300 to 130 or 120. So that's where I expressed that, and a lot of people really hated that opinion, which is whatever. You can't really do much about it, especially in markets like this. If you speak against it, you have a whole army that goes against you. But my point is, this is actually good because this is relatively cheap. $250 in this market, I see that as a W. I see that as a win, to be honest. Now, will it last $250 is the question on everybody's mind. Is this thing just going to go to $400? Or is it going to stay at $250? Who realistically knows? It's a really good set, so it's going to be very difficult to predict. But overall, I think it's a solid set. I think it's just a damn good set. And then we've got EPO3 coming up next, so that's going to be pretty crazy. That's going to be insane, man. Far out. EBO3 is going to be ridiculous. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's a really good set. I definitely think it's worth adding to your collection. I think it's definitely worth investing in if you want to. Yeah, honestly, that's my thoughts there. So, yeah, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know what you think about this set. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. I think they have absolutely nailed it. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing that they've nailed it? I guess we'll find out. If it hits $400, $500, it's going to piss me off. I earn some, so if it does go up to that price, I'll be like, one side of me will be happy, but then the other side will be pissed off because it's going to go back to like, dude, this market is so overinflated. But hopefully this is a tipping point where future sets are like 250 and they, not be like 3-4x MSRP because that's not sustainable. We saw with Pokemon that wasn't sustainable. So hopefully Bandai kind of do something similar with Pokemon and bring the prices down a bit because prices like $600 a box is way too much, way too early. But yeah, I think this is a good breath of fresh air. But yeah, anyways, see how long it lasts until it hits $400, right? So yeah, anyways, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you for watching.